Hello and welcome to this Azure Synapse Espresso. Today I'm alone. I'm going to talk about something cool that has been overlooked, a feature that has been released for quite some time, still in preview, but it's really a feature that helps your environment speed things up when you're using managed VNET in Azure Synapse or in the data factory. Now, as you all might know, if you're doing copy data tasks inside a Synapse pipeline, and you've got a managed VNet, you get a queue time of about 30 seconds to 1 minute, depending on the capacity that is available. What you basically get is every copy task will wait for a minute and then it just starts executing. And that's because of the VNet injection, because it sort of links that compute there and it has to wait for that VNet injection to be finished inside that managed VNet. Now, there's a feature in there which is called your TTL for your copy commands, which allows you to set sort of a compute ready that is being linked into a private endpoint and will stay there for a while, which means that the first time you still get some queue time, but after that, the queue time will be gone. You will directly be executing those copy data tasks. Now, enough talking about this. Let me show you that. Now, as you can see over here, in my Synapse workspace, underneath the Manage tab, and Integration Runtimes. Now, by default, you always have this auto-resolve integration runtime, and I've added this TLL, made a typo, TTL, SQL bits, which is inside a managed virtual network, and the auto-resolve runtime is also in a managed virtual network, which basically means that we get that private VNet injection for that managed virtual network, which gives us that minute of queue time. Now, we're going to look at this one. This is the specific one that I have for so let me just show TTL SQL bits. There is a compute scale preview, which I've enabled for 16 DIU. You can set this to whatever DIU you need. And the time to live is 5 minutes, which means that everything that executes after in the next 5 minutes, a copy command that's using that integration runtime will reuse that compute scale, which means it removes the queue time. The default settings that you have, you can look over here. This is my default one, so the auto resolve, it is disabled. So you cannot change it over here. Now, so the big difference here is we've got disabled over here, and in this one we have enabled one with that DIU and the time to live for 5 minutes. Now, I've created the pipeline for this. What I'm basically doing is I'm getting some metadata for some files, just to copy some files. And then I've got a for each loop with two copy tasks. One is with the TTL function, so using the integration runtime SQL bits TLL. And this one is using the default one. Let me just quickly show you that. So if I go into that one, activities, copy TL, you can see that I have these source, these things. And if you open that up, and then click on edit. Oh, sorry. Over here, you can see it. It's the TTL STF. Okay, so another one I created. And then that will basically run on, and this one is running on the auto-resolve one. Now, what happens if you execute this? As you can see here, the two loops. So you've got the loop non-TTL and the loop files, which is with the TL. The non-TTL takes 6 minutes and 31 seconds, while the other one takes 2 minutes and 24 seconds. And you can see that the first copy that you have, you've got the copy TTL and the copy non-TTL. So this one took 2 minutes, this one took 1 minute and 13, but this is with queue time. And as you can see, the next ones of the copy TTL only takes 27 seconds, 24 seconds. We basically removed that minute of queue time that we have over here. While the non-TTL copy will always have that queue time in here. You can see here a minute, minutes 57, and 1 minute, while the other ones is over here like 13 seconds. If we go and analyze that, so if you look at the copy TTL for the first one, you can see here that we have 59 seconds of queue. That's our first one that we executed. Now, any later execution that we have, so not this one, but this one, you can see that the queue has drastically decreased 3 seconds because there is no queue time. We do not have to wait for the resources to get there, and we do not have to wait for that VNet injection inside that managed VNet. So it's just the 18 seconds to move that data around. If we go and look at the non-TTL copy, you can see that we have queue time of 1 minute 41 over here. And then the next one it's 1 minute and 4, but we always keep that longer queue time. So basically, using data technology, you can drastically increase the performance of your copy data tasks. If you have multiple copy data tasks running in a for each loop with managed VNET, you would always want to look at the specific setting that's now in preview, which is a TTL with for the compute copy scale. So basically, this shows you that if you're having copy data tasks running in a loop and you've got multiple copy data tasks running after each other or in parallel, you have to go and look at those integration runtimes and make sure you set that compute scale setting to true and have a good DIU, which suits your environment, and a TTL that suits your environment. This basically drastically increases the speed that things are executing. You remove the queue time, and that basically, if you would look at like a loop over 1,000 copy tasks, you would have 1 queue time and then 999 without a queue time, which means if it's a minute of queue time, you save 999 minutes just by enabling this specific feature when you're using managed VNET. So if you've liked this video, just give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about it, just write them in the comments and I'll definitely get back to you. And if you want to see more of this type of content, we've got loads of videos on this channel. Just subscribe to the channel. But as always, from the Synapse Espresso team, this is Stijn. See you next time. Bye.